Hello, thank you for listening to the Fillet podcast. This is episode 172. I'm Grant Fierro here with Mike Medina. Hi, Mike.
What up, dog?
How's it going?
Going.
Ready to
How's it
talk
going?
about some skateboarding?
I'm very ready.
All right, well, let's start it off with something on the news side of things. Jamie Foy appears to be off Diamond Footwear. He has all his sponsors listed on his Instagram and his bio, and he took Diamond Footwear is no longer tagged there. And the other day on an Instagram story of him skating Beebles Park, he had New Balances on, which I think comes as a pretty big surprise to a lot of people. I wouldn't have expected that he was leaving Diamond anytime soon.
Never. I think that brand almost seemed to like cater to him. You know what I mean? As far as like, for example, they did a collaboration with Death Wish, which I mean, I think a majority of people didn't see happening or didn't really see maybe the logic behind it. But obviously, Jamie was the connection there. You know?
Yeah, it was for Jamie for sure.
Right. Right. That's what I mean. And it's
Hmm.
like that was just a couple of months ago.
Yeah, that was very recent. Which that's
Very
actually one of the
recent.
first things I thought about was it is interesting, like that just happened, and that was pretty much like a campaign and collaboration for him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the other thing I thought of was, well, who else has left Diamond Footwear? And that's Nick Tucker. And actually, kind of similarly, Nick Tucker had not that Jamie had a pro shoe, but Nick Tucker had a pro shoe release very, like, not much before he decided to leave the company.
Right.
Um, I would have guessed that Diamond was actually like I wouldn't have been surprised if they were working on a complete pro shoe right now for Jamie, or if that was at least a talk. They've been pretty uh like progressive and just doing pro shoes for a lot of those dudes. Tori has a shoe, Boo has a shoe, Nick had a shoe, Beeble has a shoe. I would have expected Jamie to get a shoe.
Absolutely.
Um, so I mean that could have easily been something in the works. And now it seems like he's off and on to the next thing, which actually he didn't last on Diamond Footwear all too long. Obviously, it's still like a fairly young company. I think even right out the gates when he joined, I think maybe some people were surprised. Kind of what you were saying. You were talking about the collaboration in general, Mike, but I think someone that's on Death Wish being on Diamond, and Jamie was still kind of new to the scene. It was kind of a surprise to a lot of people. I think that he wasn't actually on Nike and that he could go somewhere else.
Right.
Um, but then it seemed pretty solidified there, and I wouldn't have expected him to leave. But obviously, we don't know the details. Um, Seeing him in New Balances, Mike, is that what you think that's where he's headed?
I have no idea, man. That's a very strange one for me.
Yeah. I think that is where he's going for because I don't think Jamie just left Diamond without a plan.
I agree.
I would think I have no idea if he was like psyched on being on the program, and I don't know, but I think he probably left because of an opportunity elsewhere that was just too good to pass up, or something about it he preferred.
I
And
mean,
so
it's not like Jamie is a stranger to getting chasing a check, dude.
yeah, yeah.
He wears the Red Bull hat.
um, And I think New Balance, Mike, we talked a little bit about this off air, which you were saying that you think it's going to take a little getting used to seeing him in the New Balances.
Oh
Seems a
yeah.
little weird,
Oh yeah.
which I get and I understand. But the more I think about it, it's like New Balance. I love New Balance's team. They have a
Yep.
lot of cool dudes that I think are underrated. As far as a really big name, I don't know if I'd really say they have one. I would almost say like
Brandon Westgate.
they have Westgate, but Westgate isn't the dude that's going to put out 4 parts a year.
Right.
Well,
I
you
mean,
know
I'd
what I
say
mean?
right now, realistically, I'd say New Balance is dude right now, in my opinion.
I'd say Frankie.
It's Frankie.
Yeah, I'd say Frankie.
Frankie gets
Um,
the most coverage. He's always got New Balance. Like it's not like he wears shoes that you don't see the N on. Like you always see the N on his shoe.
yeah, he reps it, goes on a bunch of the trips and a ton of their videos, getting coverage all the time, like you were saying, mags, interviews, video parts.
Just in general, like you see
Yeah,
a lot of
everything.
Frankie Bolani.
Um, so I mean, in that sense, it kind of makes sense. Like, hey, why not grab another big name? Because they don't really have a bunch of huge names, in my opinion. And I'm trying to say that the right way because, like I said, I really love their team, but I do think a lot of their team riders are dudes that are underrated and they deserve that shoe sponsor, but maybe
Shit,
without New Balance, they didn't have it.
definitely.
And so, in that sense, I think I understand. Yeah, maybe New Balance wanted to go after a bigger name. They had the money to get Jamie, and maybe that's what's about to happen.
I don't know. I mean, I don't see it taking very long for him to find a new home. I don't think it's gonna be Nike, and I sure as hell don't think it'll be Adidas.
So you're
So I
not
mean,
you're not like convinced that New Balance is the home.
no, I am convinced that New Balance is the home for like those reasons.
Okay.
Like, like where else would Jamie go?
I just
I
don't see
I
someone that's the current skater of the year wearing multiple different shoes and then ending up somewhere. I think it's
right.
like he knows where he's going, and now we're only going to see him in New Balances. And I think it'll probably be something that gets announced pretty quick because why not? Obviously, he hasn't. It's like one clip that was on Instagram story, not on his, on someone else's of him skating in New Balances. So it's not like super blown out yet. It's like he's posting himself in New Balances. So I think he'll
Right.
probably,
Or like has like stickers and all that.
yeah. So I think it'll be a hush for a second as they're maybe like finalizing things or doing some like announcement video or whatever. And I think that the
Right.
announcement will come quick. I
Hmm.
do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said though, that would definitely be by far the biggest addition to that team.
Yeah, for
As
sure.
far as like name wise, like you were saying, you know,
And
like
thinking
obviously
of dudes on that
great.
team, I think seeing Jamie and Frankie in a New Balance video skating together could be super sick.
Agreed.
I think that would be super cool, and they could easily use that to their advantage.
And there's the JK's connection.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Um, yeah, so I mean that's crazy. That's like a big topic this week. Obviously, the first thing we talked about on the show, and last week neither of us had any idea that that's something that would come up.
Yeah, no shit. Good point.
Just kind of out of the blue,
Yeah, really good point.
and here it is. Yeah, pretty crazy. Um, other than that, I feel like we mainly have some video projects to talk about, which is exciting. There's some very good ones in there. Um, I want to discuss the Adidas Ooh La La video that was released this week on Thrasher. I'm sorry, on Adidas's YouTube. Mike, I know one of your probably top 5 favorite skateboarders ever. Lucas is in
Lucas,
this,
dude, he went off too.
and I must agree, his footage is really good in this video. I loved it.
How about the fucking Nolly Varial flip feet switch?
Yeah, well, what do you think about that?
My God, could you have made that look any cooler?
It
Like, are you kidding? And then what did
was
you do?
pretty
Switch
sick.
flip no slide?
He did switch flip back tail. Oh, was it switch flip no slide after it?
I think he does switch flip no slide
It
and
is.
then back threes.
Yeah, I think it is switch flip no slide. Um, which yeah, and I think
Dude,
the filmer
that
kind of
is
swerves as he does the foot shuffle thing, which made it look cool.
dude,
Um,
hit that line is gnarly.
crazy line. I love nollie varial flips. I think they look super sick.
Especially over stuff.
Yeah, nollie and fakie varial flips over something I think looks so cool.
I agree.
And yeah, he pulled off the little random foot shuffle. I don't remember seeing anybody do that in a line.
Especially not like that buttery, dude.
it,
Like that was smooth operator type shit.
it was pretty sick. Yeah.
I don't
Um,
know. That was my favorite trick from the whole thing was the
that's
foot
your favorite
flop.
clip in the video? Okay.
No, I'm just
Dude.
kidding.
Oh.
But no, that is like my favorite clip though. Like that line in general is my favorite clip. I also
Herman's
really do.
back lip, that's just, I think the only
Yeah,
clip he
that was.
had,
I
but that was
was gonna
sick.
say Herman, the dude, he took some slams on that one,
He
man.
did get smoked.
But what else? Who else's footage? The Magnus went the fuck off.
Yeah, I know you love your boy Magnus
Oh
for
my
sure.
God! Like the ollie up onto like the sidewall and like wallied off of it. That was
Hmm.
gnarly, dude.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Gustav. Every
Oh
time
yeah,
he's in a video project, I'm hyped on his footage on Instagram. Like this dude just does the most. Like I like how he's kind of referred to as like a magician. Like everyone that posts his clips, and there's always like the magic cat, whatever, on Instagram.
I mean, dude, you want to talk about underrated? There's like a very
This
prime
dude just straight up could do like the
everything. The
just stuff that
hardest
doesn't
trick.
make any sort of sense.
Yeah.
That is so crazy to even think about, and he does
Yeah.
it, and it's so sick.
Him being on Adidas is like such a good fit.
Yeah, I agree. I think it makes complete sense.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Um,
I like all these European dudes that I wasn't very familiar with too. Just completely snapped. I also really liked the like the bump over the yellow bike clips.
yeah, the Ofo bike, right?
Yeah, those look sick, dude.
Dude, switch inward heel,
That
Lucas.
was buff.
Chewy Cannon front shoved it super good too.
And what's his face? Varial healed it.
I don't
Benny,
remember.
Benny Fairfax.
Oh, Benny, sick. This dude Hiter da Silva. I've only seen him. I think he's been in one other Adidas thing recently.
Is he the
Um,
first guy with a little afro?
I don't remember if he's a little afro, but he has like
Fucker,
those. He has the white Lucas mid tops that have green on the back and like cargo pants and numbers boards. His skating is so sick. I feel like he's gonna be a dude like Adidas dropped two video projects this week. That the one we're discussing right now, and then one for the campus, the like campus ADV that they redid.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude Heiter's in both of them. Footage is incredible in both of them, and I think he's someone that he's like a European dude that they're going to start. I think them, and if he gets announced on numbers, is just going to be someone that gets pushed pretty hard by his sponsors and going to become a familiar name quick.
Right.
Because I mean, being in like a montage with these dudes that we're saying, like there's a few dudes that pretty much everyone is familiar with, and then there's some other dudes that maybe you have never heard of or never seen skate. Um, and I think he's standing out in them well. So I think we're just going to keep seeing more, which is sick. And another name I wrote down was Patrick Zentgraf. I've seen him skate recently as well. In the he's been a few primitive edits, um, like where they do some of the European dudes. There's one called Massive that he's in with Trent and Roman and a few other dudes. And I like his skating a lot as well. Super cool style. He like gets pretty tech and just looks so good doing it, and a lot of pop. Which
Were you
was
expecting this many people to be in that Ooh La La video?
no, I didn't even know. I just saw like a randomly on Instagram like Adidas Ooh La La, and I was like, yeah, well, I'm gonna watch it, but I had no expectations. I kind of thought maybe it was like a 3 minute thing, which would have been fine, but 7 minutes, I was like, oh, sick.
Yeah.
And then like it was the type of thing right when I clicked on it, the colors, the footage, the 4x3 footage,
Yeah. I mean,
and
the
then
fact that it
seeing
was a
Lucas
mix.
like almost right away, I was like, okay, this is already, and like it being in Europe and the way the spots look, I was like, dude, this is already sick.
I like that it was a mixture of like like the dudes that we like kind of knew about, and then there was like some guys that I had never really heard of in there too.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
agree. It
always
was a
a good
solid
move.
mix.
Yeah,
It
that's
was sick.
always a good move for brands to do because especially like in nowadays where there's so many people skating, you know,
Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to like familiarize people with newer dudes on the team.
for sure.
Because if it, maybe if it's like all unknown names for most people, like maybe they won't watch it.
For
But
sure.
there's Lucas in there, like there's a handful of people that are going to click on a video just because Lucas is in it.
Absolutely.
And then they can see, oh wow, like this Hyter dude's so sick, or this Patrick, or whoever,
Right.
which I think works out. And then, like I mentioned, they did a video for the campus ADV. They redid it, the campus Volk. Um,
I'd wear
Mike,
it.
do you like how the new version looks?
Yeah, I like the old version too.
Have you skated those?
Yes, not the new ones, the older
Yeah,
ones.
the old ones. Cool.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like a pretty OG Adidas skate shoe, right?
Yeah, it's basically just an Adidas shoe that people used to skate, and then Adidas
Yeah,
skate
it's a
turned into
super
a skate shoe.
simple shoe. Yeah.
Right.
Sick. Um, Again, I think it was this one was shorter, maybe like 3 or so minutes. Blondie's in it, and some of the same dudes, Heiter and Chewy
A
had
lot of the
clips.
same dudes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then MJ had really sick footage in this, and I didn't have any expectation of new Mark Johnson footage coming soon.
Yep. I think that's the main thing to take away from this edit is that Mark Johnson's in it.
And it's good skateboarding.
Oh yeah, for sure. But Mark Johnson's in it, so you're gonna want to watch it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's Mark, so watch it for that. But it's like it's good, Mark. Like I love those clips that he had in there, and there
Yeah,
wasn't just like two. Like he had a handful of. It's a 3-minute video, and he had a good amount of footage. So he's like a good part of that video, which
good.
was sick. Again, something that kind of came as a surprise.
Definitely.
And I'll watch that again in general, but specifically to watch some Mark footage.
Right.
Because
Yeah, exactly.
we haven't got a ton. Like I'm trying to think, what are the last things that Mark's had clips in?
I mean, we just really haven't gotten a lot of footage from him in general in the last like 3 years, man.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like obviously there was him away days. He has what, one or two tricks.
Yeah.
Um, and
Nah,
then
yeah, like one or two.
there's been like some small Adidas things where he's had some clips, but this I think was really like the most we've got in a long time. Um,
Yeah,
and
definitely. I
it
agree.
didn't it wasn't the type of footage, not that his other stuff has been, but it wasn't something that came across like, oh, he went out and just filmed tricks to film them. Like it was sick clips that I would imagine he's pretty proud of, that not some like throwaway footage. It was good footage.
I mean, he's got his business launching, his brand launching, and everything. I'm sure he's gonna want to try to get himself out there a little bit too. You know.
Yeah, definitely, it would only make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Foundation Souvenir video. It's being released part by part on Thrasher.
Fucking heavy, dude. Dakota's part is in fucking insane.
I just rewatched Dakota's before the show for a little refresher.
My God. Guy's a
It's
psycho. Dude, he's so good.
he's gnarly, dude.
Dude, the 50 to front blunt to fakie is absolutely insane.
Okay, that's a trick I wanted to bring up because, well, number one, it's insane, like you just said. But
Holy
also
shit.
Chase Webb had a trick on that rail recently.
Mm-hmm.
He did the 50-50 gap nose grind
Yeah.
for his DC shoe. Which one do you think's gnarlier?
I prefer the front blunt. I like the way it looked, and
You think it looks
I
sicker?
really like that he went to fakie too.
Okay. That makes sense. What I thought was really cool was, I want to say it was probably in Thrasher. I think there was a sequence of the 50 to front blunt. So you see the images of him in the 50 and in the front blunt, and it looks so sick.
Dude, dude, I mean, all the kinks, all the curved rails, like, dude, he's a freak, man.
I would describe the Souvenir video itself as just the weirdest handrails that look so hard to skate. They look like they're literally the middle of nowhere, like weird crusty ground, but it's just like looks like it's in a field. Like the front board is the front board Dakota Zender?
Yes.
It's front board fakie, and you see the van in the background in a parking lot. And that it just looks like these random rails that look so gnarly and hard to skate.
Dude, that is one hell of a part, though, bro. Like,
it
okay,
is.
that's 2 videos in 2 years of complete fucked up shit.
It's true.
Like, dude, Foundation boys are the truth, man.
They're on it.
You may have never owned their boards. You may never buy a Tomiato board, whatever, dude. You can't say shit about that team, dude. Those guys are some workhorses, man.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. 2 projects in 2 years.
My God. 2 full lengths. This isn't just 2 projects. This is 2 full lengths.
Is this a full length to you?
Full team. Dude, I mean.
There's full parts in it, but this, I mean, I'm just asking. This one is 15 minutes in total.
I thought it was longer than that, really.
Yeah, it's 15 minutes. It's not as long as Oddity.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I thought it was longer than that, actually.
But there are the dudes in it that, filmed in Oddity as well and really are putting it down, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Dakota being one of them. Like this was.
Yeah, I love Dakota's part too, and in Oddity too.
I just can't even imagine, like, just front boarding through a kink like that, and his ender, like he's just holding it so long. So crazy.
I mean, yeah, that's that. I can't wait for Glick's part, dude.
Yeah, you're gonna be psyched on it.
I can't wait.
Glick is so good.
Oh, I know.
He's sick. I feel like Am Scrambles what really put me onto Glick.
Really? I've seen him around since he was like a kid.
Yeah. I'd heard the name before Am Scramble, and maybe I had seen something. But when I
And
think of
he's
Glick, Am Scramble is kind of what comes to my mind. Just that backsmith transfer when it's starting to rain, like that
oh
specific
yeah,
clip is what
oh
like
yeah,
I connect to Glick. Like that clip's so
yeah.
sick.
That clip is the way it's filmed too is so gangster.
It's super sick.
Yeah, they're all pro now, right?
All the scramblers, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And I think Scramble 2 is coming up because Burnett talked about it on Instagram like a couple months ago.
Interesting. I wonder who's
Asking,
gonna go on that.
I don't know, they should put Alexis on it.
They should put ham scramble, huh?
I think it's such a cool thing for Thrasher to do.
Yeah, I like the name too.
The name's cool. It's just a skate trip with a bunch of
I don't know if
ripping
they. I don't.
Ams.
I think Dilo should for sure be on there, but
Yeah, I backed that.
I don't know if like those. I don't know if you can find another group of AMs that are that special.
I mean, I think it'll happen over time.
I mean, that group of dudes was special because like what? I mean, some of them knew each other prior, like Florida
Mhm.
boys.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
true.
know, dude. Nike dudes, like Mason was there, fucking
Yeah, I do
Yarnay,
feel
like
like it was like a very intertwined group from the beginning. A lot of
right.
them.
That's what I'm trying to
Um, I do
say.
think what was super sick to me was that Winkowski was on it, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, maybe he knew some of those dudes, but I like you're not going to see Winkowski and Jamie Foy skating together all the time, or like Winkowski and Zion. I don't know. You will at some points maybe, but it was cool to see them on a trip and see Winkowski grind some big rails that those dudes
Speaking of
didn't skate.
Winkowski, speaking of Winkowski, did you see that clip of him just like crawling over a wall?
Oh, I did.
Wow, how
It
cool was
was
that
pretty
clip, dude?
insane.
That clip is so rad.
I forgot about that. That was sick.
Literally just him like crawling down a wall, like on his board.
Yeah, I don't even know how you describe his skating. He just one of those. He's just doing his own thing. Like you
He's
just
definitely doing his own thing.
and you don't know what you're gonna get, and that's sick. The surprise factor's up there. I mean, I'm sure people be like, "Oh, it's hand plant, hand plant, hand plant, whatever," but
What
at the
about the
same time,
backside? What about backside boneless downstairs?
that's true.
That was insane.
Didn't he do like a fakie? He does some weird like fakie fast plant or something like that downstairs in his
Yeah, that's what I
indie
mean.
part.
That's like a backside boneless, dude. Literally, he
Yeah, he
like
does that one, but yeah, it's just insane. The backboneless like down the stairs is crazy. Now that I'm
yeah.
really picturing that clip again.
He like ducks under. He like ducks under a rail first.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing before we move on from Dakota. I wrote this down because I didn't want to forget it. He kickflip front boards a rail that looks so tall. That just the way it was filmed, you could really tell the height of that rail. Um, and speaking of all these gnarly rails, I definitely would love a rough cut.
Oh, for sure. I definitely think we're gonna see that.
Yeah, yeah, I think we will as well. I'd be hyped on that. What else do we got on here?
Not much. It was kind of a short week.
Yeah, not a ton went down. Chris Roberts and Mike Mo battle at the
Oh
barracks.
yeah,
Mike,
game
we
was a
haven't
lot
talked
more
about that.
serious than I thought it was gonna be. I'll say that.
Yeah, last week on the show, your predictions were that it was gonna kind of just be a big joke, which I
Yeah.
mean, there's definitely its funny moments.
But you
Um,
can tell that they both like were practicing prior to this.
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure there were.
Yeah.
um, there's definitely some funny stuff. It was heel flip. Chris did twice in a row and was like, it's doesn't say you can't in the rules. Switch flip, switch Manny on the Manny pad was so funny.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
What I must say actually did stand out to me. Chris's first try, he lost on the like impossible underflip Mike Mo Classic. He
Yeah.
actually had a solid attempts on it.
The first one especially.
Yeah, I was like the first one. I was like, oh my gosh, if he lands this right now,
Yeah, that would have been
I would have lost my mind in
no
front of
Mike
my
Mo
computer screen
classic.
if Chris did it. But it really did look promising, and it was cool how he asked Mike like, "So what do you actually do?" And then Mo kind of like explained it barely, and then he had a solid attempt.
Yeah, it would have been way better if had he made it.
It would have been so sick. I was just hyped, like, clicking on that video and seeing that it was 8 minutes long. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
so whatever.
that was
Like,
the first thing I noticed about it was the length of the video. I was like, okay, cool. So it's not gonna be just like some stupid joke the entire time, I guess.
yeah, I was like, at least it's not just like one of these dudes gets
Who does he
smoked in
play now? Who
two
does Mo
minutes.
play?
He plays Malto.
For sure.
Who you taking on that?
Good question. I'm gonna go with Mo.
I'm going Mike Mo.
Yeah, me too.
I
I
feel
saw
like
I saw on his YouTube channel that he's been skating flat ground like nonstop. So I'm gonna
he
go with
has. And from hearing him talk about it, I think it's basically all he can skate. Like he can't skate ledges.
I mean, I'm sure he can skate ledges. I'm sure he just can't get tech like he,
Yeah,
like he
yeah,
used
but I
to.
think like so he has like that brace, like the support thing for his foot,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of like bounces it almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like it gives it like a reaction. And the way he was talking about it was like he can't get onto a ledge. I don't know. It seemed you'd have to listen to him talk about it more, obviously.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but I feel like his description may be different than just doing a 5-0 grind.
yeah, yeah, that's possible.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
His flat
to
ground
you and
looks on
I,
point though.
right? Like to you and I'd be like, yo, I can't even get on the ledge. It means that I can't even 50-50. But I bet you he means like I can't kickflip crook.
Yeah, that's possible.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Um, his flat ground does look on point.
Very. He's
It would
popping
be pretty
flips.
crazy if Mo went to finals night.
I mean, it would be crazy, but like it would be crazy in like a sick way because it's not like it's like unheard of. You know
It
what I
would
mean?
it would be so cool after seeing him hurt for that long to like
Yeah,
just even him in finals night, regardless of him winning, but just him being there skating in it would be so sick.
I completely agree.
Especially because I think he's like one of the
He's
dudes.
one of the dudes that put Bell at the Barracks on the map.
Exactly. Yeah, like he's
If
someone
it
that I
wasn't
think a
for
lot of people relate about the
totally,
Bears for.
especially in those earlier years, like the
Uh
first
huh.
like 5 of them, like dude, Mo was like synonymous with being in that and being one of the hardest guys to beat.
He won the first one ever, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then but like I mean, years after that, he was still regarded as like the dude
Yeah.
or one of the dudes for that matter. You know what I mean?
I mean, even if you watch like I think his flat ground just stands out and obviously he's consistent, so he does great in those games. But when I think of
Yeah.
Mike Mo skating, like obviously he's someone that has gotten tech and he can jump downstairs and his board's constantly flipping. So like when I think of Mo, I'll picture just like a great nollie back heel, like he could just stomp. Um,
I
and
picture the
so
switch flip
so yeah, he has a great switch flip.
every single time. If I think of Mike Mo, I think of that switch flip.
His switch frontside flip's good as well. Regular.
Yeah,
He does
yeah,
regular
but
ones more.
I feel like every skater to maybe it may be a different trick, depending on like every single skateboarder definitely has a trick that you remember them for, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I
For
mean that's
sure.
just like I think a lot of people might think of Mike Mo switch flip from fucking what you call it, fully flared.
Oh, like one specific clip.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I think
Uh,
when you think in your head like
that's
oh Andrew
interesting.
Reynolds or like oh P Rod like oh like these dudes, I think like there's always like one clip that may
Do you
stand
have a
out.
clip for like what's your P Rod clip?
Right now, it's that switchback Smith back three. That's like stuck in my head as like
Oh,
something.
that's a sick one.
But like that's not saying that it couldn't change tomorrow or like that.
Yeah, 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 no, that's fair.
Yeah,
I'm pretty hyped right now that we're talking about Paul. His switch flip back tail, his last trick in Never on the long ledge
yeah,
block over the ledge.
yeah. Dude's insane.
Frankie, that now that we're talking about that spot, it just makes you think again.
And I think
Frankie,
that's
fakey
okay.
back
That's a good
tail,
example. Good
big flip.
example. I think that that Frankie's Bennett grind switchback three. That'll be his. Like everyone will remember Frankie for that trick, dude.
Dude, I
Like
love
okay, as an example, Carlos Rivero, he's fucking amazing, but I will never not think of switchback three over a
it.
table.
Yeah, okay, that in itself is a really good example.
I will
Because
never not think of
I
that.
don't think Carlos is only known for the switchback three at all.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I do think the switchback three kind of it's just so synonymous with who he is.
That's my favorite Carlos clip by far.
Yeah, and he's literally the yeah. He's switchback three to table. You don't see switchback threes much in general. You
Yeah.
don't see regular back threes over stuff. Like that's a crazy trick to pop. Torrey Puddle did over table regular.
Oh yeah.
Carlos
Yeah.
did it switch, and the way Carlos did it, like the way his shoulders
Yeah.
like
We
were
already know.
kind of slow and his legs whipped and like
We already know.
so sick.
Tori also backside 360 kick flipped over a bench from flat.
He did.
That's what the fuck, dude.
He hard flipped a table from flat. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
for sure.
The thing about that, hard flipping something on flat ground, you have to go so fast and pop so early for your board not to hit it on the way up.
Frustrating thing about trying to skate over things is like getting up it.
I mean, yeah, it's like front shove over stuff looks so sick, and you just have to
Yeah.
pop it so early.
It's so hard. It's so much harder to do.
Yeah, for sure. It's
something.
timing. It's obviously having the pop, but like even if you have the pop, it's figuring
It's
out
still
when.
timing though.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
you need the pop, but you really have to figure out when to pop it.
I agree.
Speed and timing. That's crazy. That's crazy. Is Carlos switchback three your favorite trick over a table?
Yes. Definitely. I
Off the
still have
top of my head, it's
obviously I definitely have a soft spot for the Fran Molina fakie inward, but
I was gonna say that the dude Fran did fake inward heel and half cap heel so good.
yeah, the fakie inward heel, like I definitely have a soft spot for that as well. That's like, jeez, man, and that trick feels fucking amazing.
Dude, Diego's kickflip long ways is always a
Fuck yeah.
standout for
Fuck
like
yeah.
schoolyard.
Fuck yeah, I agree.
So sick.
I still think it's crazy that Bragg isn't with ETN.
That is crazy. I don't know if we ever
seems
talked
so
about that.
wrong, dude. That just seems so wrong and not like what is ETN without Bragg?
I don't know. He's almost okay. You know how we're talking about like we put a dude like how we connect a clip or a trick to that dude. I would immediately ETN Bragg first thing in my mind.
For sure. DC Chris Ray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Bragg. So I mean, and I didn't know a thing about that until that nightclub experience dropped.
Me neither. Same. I didn't.
So I saw that title, and I was just like, "Wait, what? Like Bragg's not with ETN? What do you mean?"
And hearing him describe it, where it became like a thing where they weren't letting him do what he wanted to do. Like, what? That makes no fucking sense, dude. He's Eric Bragg. Like that. Like ETN literally was him doing what he wanted to do.
Yeah, that's definitely what it seemed.
And that's like why it was sick. Like the fact that like Four Wheels Live doesn't have a second season is absolutely absurd. Like that show will never be seen again. You know.
I mean, hopefully they still do another season.
With
the thing I didn't understand. What?
Who can host it like he can? No one.
Yeah, but I mean, they never said. He even says in there that they're gonna use him for like doing the what's the name of the travel show?
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
You know what I mean? Like they could hire him like, hey, to pay him to do these episodes of this show, but that's not his full-time job.
Right.
So I mean, maybe cause I would like you're very right. I love that show. It was so funny.
It's hilarious. It's just too funny to not have it.
Yeah, they need him on it. I don't think they can do that show with someone else.
I don't. There's not anyone believable enough.
And even when we had Bragg on here, he said how Four Wheels Live was pretty much as soon as people would download ETN, that was the first thing they'd go watch an entire season of.
Of course.
Which surprises me whether or not, like, even if Bragg was still working there today or not, I feel like it's a little weird that they haven't done the second season. I mean, he did say the expenses and how much planning, and I'm sure that is probably the actual reasons why. But that was just such a good show, and he definitely made it sound like, in general, it had a really good reaction by people.
Yeah, and Face Melters was pretty fucking, pretty revolutionary, so to speak.
Have you seen the show Puzzled they started recently?
No.
It's
I have not been on ETN in months, so I'm not gonna act like I have.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Basically what it is they have two dudes come in and skate the park, but they rearrange, like they'll move these obstacles around to create something random and skate that basically. Which I do think it's cool because it shows them kind of like think and talk about like, oh, we should set this up and skate it like this. But then there's something about it that I feel like it just needs to be like livened up a little bit because then it's just these dudes sessioning this obstacle, which is cool, but at the same time, it's so slow paced because there's only two dudes skating.
Hmm.
That like maybe they try their trick and then like kind of hang out and talk and skate back to like the runway for it and like it, you know what I mean? Like it's just really
Yeah,
slow. I feel
yeah,
like they could actually do it because I think it's a cool concept, but it needs to be faster. I mean, they could even do it like they had Carlos Ribeiro and Robert Neal do it, so it's like primitive dudes. I think they could even
hmm
do it with like five dudes from a company. Maybe even they don't have to be related to a brand, but if they wanted to do it like that, like here's five dudes from Primitive that's going to skate this, just so it's more fast paced. Because it's kind of
right.
a long. It's like 45 minutes or an hour of these dudes skating, but like they're trying hard tricks, so it's like it's a lot of attempts.
I mean, I mean, anyone who skates knows that attempts are a majority of skating.
Oh yeah, of course, of course.
So it's like, yeah, I completely agree. If
Yeah,
you're gonna do it every single attempt, I mean,
yeah.
you gotta like increase your odds a little bit more by having more dudes.
Yeah, I don't know. That's my thoughts, but I like
I
the
completely.
idea. I just think it needs to be faster somehow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What else we got on the list?
Honestly, as far as the list, we talked about Jamie, we talked about the two Adidas projects, and the foundation video and the Battle at the Barracks.
Damn, who's this week then? The Battle at the Barracks games.
I'm gonna look right now as we continue to chat, but I don't think they've posted
Okay,
any sort of.
you watching those dog pics, dude?
No, I definitely don't watch the dog pics. I actually always forget that happens.
The fact I see them on like my subscriptions list on my YouTube, and I'm just like, why do they keep making these?
Yeah, it's a really strange thing.
It makes no fucking sense at all, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I
I
watch
thought
the
it was
pregame
real.
interviews because Chris cracks me up.
Yeah, those are funny, but
And,
like,
and wait, did you watch when Chris interviewed himself?
yeah, it was like some Seinfeld, like
It
Larry
was
David
so
type shit.
good.
Yeah,
And I watched the battles, and yeah, that's it. But I'm a fan about the Barracks. Like, I mean, a lot of the comments, like on YouTube, is like, "Oh, you guys should have picked better flat ground skaters and whatever." But it's like, dude, like you don't know how the games are gonna go always. Like, they can't control it. You know, like whatever. One dude's not feeling good, and another dude's like feels super comfortable on his board, so the game's 2 minutes. Like, whatever. Of course, everyone wants like a 7 minute game, but doesn't always go that way. But I think it's fun to watch, and it's cool to see dudes do tricks that you never see them do, or you would never know they can do because they don't like how they look or feel or whatever.
right.
Um, yeah, yeah, that's my Battle at the Barracks thoughts. Is that it, Mike? Anything else random that's just
Not
popping into
really.
your mind right now about skateboarding?
The only things that really, the Souvenir is the shit. That's what
Souvenir, okay.
I'm trying to, yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
scope that.
and then Ooh La La, that was my favorite
I
thing.
want you. We've talked about this video because I went to the premiere. We chatted about it, Element Piece. I'm excited to. We're getting towards the end of the year. I want to start just like a little bit hint at Sodi conversation here and there.
I don't think
But
there's
I
a
need
clear
you to
runner,
see
man.
that video.
I don't think there's like a clear runner. I don't think that like last year there was like at this time there was already Louis and Jamie. Like
Exactly, I agree.
we knew that those two dudes were going to be there at the end of the year. You're saying Evan for this piece part, which obviously, I mean, that
I
I
think
don't
he's going to
doubt.
be in the conversation for
Yeah,
sure.
I don't doubt that whatsoever. I mean, I know Evan is Evan, and he has the king of the road shit, and they love to give it to people that
And he's very
obviously do things
Thrasher.
for Thrasher. Right? He's got the cover. He's got the fucking king of the road MVP.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, like Evan getting Sodi should be a thing anyway. Like
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
you know what I mean? I
Um,
don't really see who's going to go against him at this point. Ishad's part is still my favorite part, but
that's my favorite part of the year for sure.
I
I don't
don't
know if
really
we're gonna
like.
get Morishad though, and I don't really think. I think it's pretty doubtful to win Sodi off one part at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
Not that that's all he's done, but in terms of video parts, he's had one, and I don't really see that happening.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it is Evan, dude.
It could be Foy though.
No, it won't be Foy.
You think it's impossible for him to go back to back?
Yes, I do.
I don't think it will be, but I think he'll be in that conversation.
I think it's impossible for him to go back to back, but I don't think that it's impossible for him to win twice.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I don't think it's impossible for him to go back to back, but I don't think I don't think he's going to right now.
They're not going to do that.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening. But I mean, he's talked about a VX part a little bit on Instagram. So
Oh yeah, that's right. That is true.
which technically would be his third video part of the year.
Third.
He had a Thunder one that was a little shorter,
That's right.
but it was about 2 minutes of footage.
I remember.
And then the Spitfire one that's 3.5 maybe,
that was
and
really
that one like everyone got pretty hyped on that one.
Yeah,
That one's so
sure.
So yeah, third, and you never know with Jamie. He could just have footage drop all of a sudden.
True.
You never know.
I mean, he's built like a fucking tank, dude. He got smoked down 15 stairs and was skating like the next day.
Dude, the craziest thing, he literally smoked on the 20 rail. I think it was ever 20, around to 20,
Yeah,
all the way to flat ground from the top.
Right.
Okay, yeah, maybe 15 because where you lock in. He flew down the set of stairs, literally onto his shoulder and his face. The next weekend, he's on a tour with Deathwish.
Right.
Grinding back 15 a double kink on Instagram.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, dude is built like a tank.
That's
man.
ridiculous. Like, you know how fair it would have been for him to just like go on that trip and kick it and not step on a board?
For sure.
I'm sure it being in Florida, I'm sure he would have skated no matter what because it seems like who he is.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the Florida Stoke hyped him up a little bit as well.
Absolutely.
The whole tour being about in Florida, and it has all this Florida product coming out and signing at his home shop and all that, which is so sick. I think it's super cool when they do stuff like going back to dudes' hometowns.
Yeah, of course.
Actually, which makes me think girl video doll that's about to premiere. They're doing I think a handful of the first premieres are at dudes' hometowns. Like there's one in Kansas City. There's Plus Skate Shop in Orlando for Niels Bennett. I think 35th North for Griffin Gas, which is sick. I love that. So cool. Yeah, that's a wrap on 172.
Not much, huh?
Yeah, that's all we got.
That's whatever. We'll be all right.
Yeah, we made it work. Talked about some skateboarding. We'll be back in a week. Hit us up if there's any video projects we should watch or anything we should talk about. Peace.